Hey, all right. Can you guys hear me? Hi, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Zane Foy. This is Perspective. I'm a little heated on this podcast. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little hot right now. I just saw something on YouTube that is so trying so hard not to cuss. Really something I'm working on right now is so misleading, misguided, toxic, deceptive, and disgusting. And people don't know why it's disgusting. So part of me empathizes because I see an army of men pursuing these teachings, and it's gross. It's gross. And what's sad though is that they're gonna pursue these teachings. It's gonna work for them, and then it's gonna be even worse. Okay, what am I talking about? So to put it simply, avoid these men at all costs. I think that's gonna be the title of this episode. And it is these YouTube channels that are teaching men the game of dating. The game of dating, how to get women to obsess over them, how to get these women to chase after them and see them as high value and all these different things. And it's a psychological game. And I'm going to try my absolute best to explain this to you in as much detail as possible so that I can protect you and hopefully stop you from running into one of these men. Because if you run into them, they are manipulative, they are toxic, and if I'm going to be brutally honest with you, they used to be me. I used to be this guy. And that's how I know how disgusting this is. I didn't realize I was part of the problem until a couple years ago, when I decided to, flip my whole life around and finally learn to be a husband. Okay. To put it simply, I'm talking about the men that seem like they only do enough to keep you on the hook. I'm talking about men that constantly seem busy. They're not super responsive, but when they are responsive, there's this game, so to speak. For some reason, you feel like they always say the right things or do the right things, but they never, here's the key takeaway. I want to drop the F-bomb so bad, but I really am going to work on it. The key takeaway is that you never really feel like they commit. And it drives you insane. And you fall into this black hole of chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing. And it's almost like this desire. You can't get enough of it. You fiend for this man. You want the satisfaction of finally getting him. But no matter what, he'll never let you have him. Please, for the love of God, avoid these men. The psychological bit. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna talk about this from the psychological perspective of the male and what they teach and why this quote unquote works to get women and get in their pants. I think that's the easiest way for me to explain this to you. It's kind of a thick topic. The idea starts off with little things like, act uninterested, act like you don't care is kind of the whole basis of the idea, which is true to an extent. You are more intriguing and more interesting and more mysterious if you're not constantly chasing or appearing needy and emasculine and kind of like a little boy, right? So there is a psychological piece of this that makes sense. And that's what I hate about this, is a lot of the tools are going to work and they make sense, but people are teaching them for the wrong reason. But the idea is that you basically act like you don't care that much. And then this is going to drive women crazy because they're so used to being surrounded by men that will go, the nice guys. They're so used to the nice guy that will go hand and foot for them, or way too needy, way too available, have nothing going on. And so now, what are men being taught to do? They're being taught to do the polar opposite. They're being taught to basically mimic cheaters, liars, and quote unquote bad boys. And the idea is that cheaters, liars, and bad boys are so self-centered that they, by accident, exude a incredible confidence and sense of ownership and dominance that women inherently and on a sexual level will find attractive. So then they go after these men, not knowing they're toxic, they're cheaters, they're liars, they're abusive in some states or in some instances. And so this goes on and on and on and on, and she chases and chases and pursues and pursues and pursues, but never really feels like this man is hers. And this drives her insane because she, it makes her feel, on one hand, she's excited because she finally has a man that's building tension and making her work for it and, has some sense of value to him to not just hand himself off to anybody. But on the other hand, she doesn't realize that it's toxic in the fact that it's not that he has this sense of value or has shit going on or has a life. No, he's just playing a game. You think, oh, wow, this guy, he must be popular. He must have a lot going on. He must be a really, attractive, high-value man. No. I guarantee you he has nothing going on. It's a play. It's a joke. It's just a strategy. He's mimicking the behavior of a high-value man. This is where you have to be careful. The difference between these men you need to avoid and someone you're actually going to, you want to be with, someone you should fall in love with and whatnot, is that a true high-value man actually has things going on. He has the same self-respect. He doesn't give in too quickly because he's careful. He's methodical. He's not persuaded easily. He's all of these dominant, centered, strong, grounded beliefs that you are so attracted to. But it's not fake. It's actually who he is. He's trying to go somewhere because in his mind, he wants a family. Wow, all of these characteristics are coming from a place of I want a family. I want to be a father. I want to be a husband. I need to have strength. I need to showcase a level of stability and prosperity to carve a path out for my family. He's busy carving a path. That's why he's not so engaged and so active and so responsive. Cool. We get that. Okay. Now, the fake high-value man, which is really what this, oh my God. It triggers me because I saw these videos of, someone teaching, saying, this is what you got to do to drive women crazy and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And I hated it because I know it's going to fucking work, not because it's something good, but because they're manipulating faults in a lot of women these days. They're manipulating trauma. They are fucking capitalizing on the trauma of these women. So what happens is that the fake high value man, high status man, the fake husband material pretends to not be interested, not because he's busy and has shit going on to provide or bring back for the family, just because he wants to fucking trick you and manipulate you into thinking all of these different things. And here's where shit gets dirty. If you are someone that tends to go after men who do not give interest a lot, you have to look in the, this is not going to be advice that is going to be pleasant to hear, but it's going to be real. Pay attention to how you were raised, and if either one of your parents tended to not be there. And as I'm talking to primarily a female audience, chances are that's going to be your father. Okay, and now here's the problem. Here's the issue that makes this whole scenario disgusting. You might have daddy issues. Okay. Now, before, please don't run. Don't fuck you. No, relax. Okay. Trust me for 1 second. Trust me. To be fair, I had mommy and daddy issues, so I'm not attacking anybody here. I know it because I was there. But you might have daddy issues. And what happens is that as a child, we learn love from our parents on a subconscious level. It's not like they taught you, this is love, this is not love. No. The love you will innately be attracted to or respond to can very easily be what your parents went through or what you saw as a child. So if you had a father that was constantly absent and not super engaged, and you constantly felt like you needed to seek his approval, you're going to be attracted to men. Let me rephrase that. You might be attracted to men that remind you in a subconscious level of your father. In a sense, you are running towards men that are never going to actually show up for you, but for some reason, you feel this desire to show up for them. Does this remind you of anything? And so what's happening is that these people are teaching these principles of how to get women and become this playboy or this bachelor. And what they're doing is they're not actually learning anything of actual value for a monogamous, happy, lifelong relationship. They don't give a fuck about starting a family with you. They might not even give a shit about you. They just know that if they behave a certain way, they can capitalize and exploit your trauma. And pardon my French, but that is fucking disgusting. And it's sad because a lot of these men don't know that's what's actually happening. They are being taught that these are the behaviors of high value men and high value this, and they're being taught all of these things that label it as this positive, good thing, and they're going to justify it as so simply because it's going to work. There are a lot more broken people in the world than there are healthy people. There are a lot more broken families than healthy families. There are a lot more broken fathers than healthy fathers. So by default, they're going to go out and it's going to fucking work. And then they're going to tell their friends and their friends' friends. And next thing you know, you're going to have a bunch of men that are just fucking exploiting your trauma. So how do we avoid this? How do we avoid this man that is making us chase and chase and chase and chase to the ends of the earth, driving us crazy, but never actually takes us anywhere, never actually moves the relationship? What do we do? How do we find the right guy? First and foremost, it starts with you. If this is something you happen to do, you need to recognize that. Sometimes your feelings are wrong. This is something I teach all the time, especially in the world of emotional intelligence and relationships. When we come from toxic parents or a toxic, parent-love relationship, maybe between themselves or between you, we get problems and we develop feelings that probably shouldn't be there, like an attraction for these type of men. You want to be attracted to a man that shows up for you. You want to be attracted to a man that has his independence, has a purpose, and is getting shit done, right? He's carving a path. He's constantly growing, but he fucking shows up for you. He's a man of his word. So we need to make that distinction of, do I have a man that is showing up for me and looking to build something, or do I have a man that's trying to play me? The easiest way to simplify this is simply reciprocity, reciprocation. Do you have a man that reciprocates your love? Or do you constantly feel like the only one going to work? I explained this in an analogy when when me and Lindsay started dating. This is how I explained it. I told her, it's a feminine trait to chase love. It really is. And this gets mixed up all the time too, is that, women will try to make the men chase, and they pull so far back that they make the men chase to the ends of the earth. And then they get mad because they then find this guy and he's emasculated, and she's like, what happened to all this dominance and strength? And he's like, well, I let go of it to chase you, right? Because he has to let go of his masculinity to turn around and pursue love. And so it needs to be a feminine priority to chase and sort of nurture this love. When we talk about feminine energy, nurturing is part of that. I describe it as, when you look at a family, you have the man traditionally, this is in a traditional relationship. If you don't want a traditional relationship, you can ignore me. But you traditionally have the man in front. He is the leader. He is built to carve a path. She is built to love and nurture. So she, behind him is her, and then behind her is the kids. And so the man constantly has to look ahead because he has to focus on the path. And by doing so, he cannot be focusing on his wife and he cannot be focusing on his kids, at least temporarily, right? He has to focus on the path. And so he works on the path and he carves and carves and carves and carves and carves. And then finally, when the work has been done, he can turn around and embrace his family. And that's when they all can connect and, come together as a team. And what happens is I see a lot of women force the man to chase all the time. And so that way he's now turning away from the path, facing her, and he's constantly facing her. And then when she finally looks at him, she goes, where the fuck is the path? We haven't gone anywhere. We haven't even moved. And he's like, well, I haven't been able to work on the path or carve the path because I've been focused on you. And then she gets mad. She's like, well, you're not the man I wanted because you're not providing and you're not taking us anywhere. How is he supposed to? You constantly made him chase. So that's why I say it should be in the woman's dominance, in a sense, to chase the man so that he can have the freedom to provide, protect, be the masculine figure. That being said, it is his job to reciprocate that love. If she is constantly putting in this work and he never turns around to embrace her or his family, that's a problem. That's what I'm saying you need to look out for. Be careful for the men that never turn around for you. Find a man that reciprocates. And the way I explain this to Lindsay, besides, this path analogy, is jump and I will catch you. And that's how a relationship works. That's the play. Because I'm not saying, I'm romantic. I chase Lindsay. Or at least to put in work to make her feel loved. I might not do it as much as she does for me, but that's because I'm working on the path. And she knows that. But to think I would never turn around and embrace her or our family is insane. Find a man that's willing to turn around and embrace you. And if you get that man and you feel unattracted to him, be careful. You're supposed to love people that give a fuck. I'm going to say that again. You're supposed to love people that give a fuck. I hope this helps. And I'm sorry if this episode was a bit abrasive. I'm extremely passionate about this because if this type of shit continues, it's going to fuck a lot of women over. It's going to cause a lot of damage. And it's the women that have come from this damage that run to me and join my community looking to heal and to get better. And so I see this firsthand every day. And it was already a problem, I shouldn't say a problem, but it was already a worry of mine to, realize how bad it was, or how big of a population of people being damaged from relationships like this. That was already, a concern of mine. But now to find out that it's not just a thing that happens, it's something being taught. Let me teach you how to fuck with a woman's head. That's fucking disgusting. It's okay to find a man that has his independence and has his purpose and has a mission in life. Just make sure he actually does care about you too. And people are what they do, not what they say. They are what they do. And a husband makes time for his family. I'm going to say that again. A husband makes time for his family. All right. That's the episode. If you haven't yet, join my community, Learning to Love. It's free. And we have a coaching call every other week. On top of that, there's free courses. All the coaching calls are recorded, so you can go back and watch from a plethora of coaching calls. We talk about all sorts of stuff: masculine, feminine energy, trust, trauma, healing, dating, all of it. And then there's a digital library that has a ton of really cool exercises. So some connection exercises, communication exercises, and an ebook called The Best 36 First Date Questions. That is also really, really cool and super helpful. So that's the episode. Obviously, I don't promote this anywhere, or I don't run ads. I don't do anything like that. So if you could just tell this podcast, if you made it this far, tell your friends about the podcast. The only way this grows is by word of mouth. So love you guys. I'll see y'all in the next episode. God bless.